The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me. Do you think that you could repeat the question?
I'm still trying to get YouTube working.
Listen more
It's the story of my life.
There must have been some.
I love that song. If I had my way, we'd play the whole thing.
That wasn't quite so easy.
We'll bring it in sometime and we'll play it.
The guy who sings this song, Melvin Taylor, is going to open up our charity bash on March 23rd singing this song. Yeah,
That's
he does
awesome.
it every year.
That's
he comes.
fantastic.
Oh,
He's the
sweet.
only guy in the room that gets paid because it's a Friday night and his band would be out playing. So I called him one year and I said, we'd love to have you open the bash as if it's the radio show and start with the Paying Attention song live. And as soon as you get to like the first line, everyone's going to know that, hey, that's the guy that actually sings that song,
I
not
love
someone
it.
covering
That's
it.
awesome.
So he comes every year. We throw him $100 or something just for his night, and he comes, he sings, he plays one song, and he enjoys himself for the rest of the night.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's terrific.
So we're live. We're on. We're going to do a show.
We're here.
We should just kind of sit here and chat for the rest of the day. What do
That
you
works.
think? So just forget the whole show,
Yeah.
all the preparation. We'll just sit here and like just talk about stuff, right?
Sounds good.
So Fred and hey, by the way, I'm Tom Duggan here on the Paying Attention podcast. We do this little show here from 2 to 4 every Thursday afternoon at Studio 21 Podcast Cafe on Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire, right above Two Guys Smoke Shop. You might want to come in and buy a couple of cigars. Dave Garofalo, the owner here, was nice enough to give us for our charity event, March 23rd, he was nice enough to give us a 8-person cigar tasting valued at $300 for our raffle.
Wow,
For
that's
our
awesome.
raffle.
Love it.
Yeah, he came over. He said, "Your raffle's going to benefit the veterans. Here, I want to donate this." So
That's awesome.
So that was nice of Dave. We
That's a big
appreciate
gift.
him. Yeah, we appreciate him doing that. And we also have Twin Lights Security. We've got Patrick from Twin Lights here. I'm going to try and get him up here on the show before the end of the show at some point.
Nice.
They do amazing work in the community. You know, it's not like McDonald's or Burger King or any of these chain stores can afford to have a Methuen cop or a Salem, New Hampshire cop outside, watching for trouble all day, like Denny's in Lawrence, right? They used to have to pay enormous amounts of money for a Lawrence cop because there was always problems. Well, Patrick runs runs Twin Lights Security and Investigation. So not only do they do investigations if you're getting divorced or you think someone for your company is stealing from you, they can investigate, but they also do security. And so they have contracts with like McDonald's and a whole bunch of places that used to hire.
Wow, that's cool.
They used to hire cops, but they couldn't afford it. Now they hire guys like Patrick.
Wow.
So if you own a business out there and you need security at the door, a nightclub or McDonald's or any kind of business where you're in a rough neighborhood, you think maybe just having security might help out, Twin Lights Security is the place to call. Patrick's the guy
great.
you should be picking
That's
up.
awesome.
That's excellent.
And we also want to thank Joe Zingalis, Century 21, Team Zingalis. If you're looking to buy a house, please buy a house from these people. When we were in our charity event last year, they gave us $3,000 scholarship for a Lawrence High kid.
That's awesome.
When we do our police rallies, they sponsor it. When we do political debates, they sponsor it, and they're a sponsor of this show. If I went to him and said I want to start a coffee company, he'd be like, okay, I'm in. Like whatever we want to do, he never says no to us. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, call Joe or Rosanna Zingalis. Buy a house from these people. Sell a house with these people. They help us. By helping them, you help us. So if you want to help us, help our advertisers. That's what I say. And then we get Angelo, one more, and then we'll get to real content. Angelo from A&B Auto in South Lawrence. This is a guy that had a business, I think, in like South Boston somewhere, Everett or somewhere. And he moved his business into Lawrence. Now, I know lots of people trying to move their business out of Lawrence. They can't wait to get out of Lawrence.
Right.
But this is a guy that said, you know what? I have faith in Lawrence, and I'm going to go into Lawrence, and I'm going to try and employ some people.
Yeah.
And run a business. So A&B Auto on South Broadway in Lawrence, it's the old Metropolitan Building.
Uh-huh.
A&M Auto.
A&M Auto.
A&M Auto.
What did I say? I said it wrong?
A&B.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do that one again. No.
So he's a mechanic?
All right, Tom, take two. A&M Auto.
A&M Auto. So, all right, so let's get to some news. Now,
Awesome.
Meredith hasn't been here.
I'm back.
And I told her yesterday, there's no show if you're not here today. because I cannot go 3 shows in a row. First, without eye candy. Look how absolutely beautiful she is, right?
Oh.
But secondly, like being around beautiful women, it brings my spirits up. So it's like, you don't have to marry me, you don't have to make out with me, you don't have to have sex with me, you don't have to, you don't even have to flirt back at me. Just being around beautiful women puts me in my A game, and I need that. So if I feel like I was floundering not anything against Fred, but I don't kind of go that way, and I need something to motivate me. So having Meredith here means this is going to be a great show.
He's so sweet.
Yeah, I've been accused of being a lot of things. Sweet has never been one of them.
Never once.
I'll take it.
Never once.
So what do you guys got for news for us?
You really want me to follow that with straight news?
No, not really.
That's very difficult.
We were saying off the air.
I mean, really.
Paul and I did a show. We had a guest that never showed up one day when we were at CAP, and we didn't know what to do. And so we decided to do a whole show on something like we'd never done before, because it's usually like a serious political show.
Yep.
And we did a show on relationships, and it was the funniest effing show we have ever done, ever. Even to this day, it was one of the best shows we ever did. Because I had like ex-girlfriends calling up going, "That's not true. You just lied, because when we were together," and it was a really funny show. And it's not what we're used to doing. So I think at some point, Paul and I did talk about this morning, we may actually come in and do a relationship show just for fun.
That could be fun.
Yeah, we'll do news.
I'll bring popcorn.
Right, we'll do news, and then we'll do relationships. And my ex-girlfriends will be Skyping in going, So what do you guys got for news?
All right, Tom. So we're going to start out with a late-breaking story that is being covered right now by the Boston Globe. And this relates to, you probably saw this. Do you remember last weekend there was a group of dirt bikers riding their bikes down Route 93 down in downtown Boston?
I do.
It was on the Southeast Expressway. They were down by exit 18. And they had about 25 or 35 of these people. They were doing donuts in the middle of the road, caused chaos at the scene. Well,
totally unsafe.
Totally unsafe.
Oh, yeah.
So one of those drivers was injured when a state police trooper opened fire on him with a rifle, and he was shot in the foot. Well, the Boston Globe has been doing some research into this. They've been doing some
They're not
digging.
exactly police-friendly at the Boston Globe.
Not exactly police-friendly.
No.
We're going to tell you exactly how in a second here. So they are now announcing that the Mass State Police trooper who fired that shot has a, quote, long history of posting racist and profane comments on a website called Mass Cops, including some in support of police officers who shoot suspects.
Oh, my God. That we need to quarter and feather him right now. We should put his name on every single news station with a big Nazi symbol on it. He should lose his job and never be able to work ever again. He should never, ever be able to ever work anywhere because he put things on Facebook that somebody says was racist, that somebody interpreted as racist.
Well, so
ridiculous.
The spokesman for the Mass State Police is saying, quote, the tone and nature of those posts are repugnant and clearly do not reflect the values, ideals, and opinions of the Massachusetts State Police. If the author is confirmed to be a member of the State Police Department, we will take appropriate action.
Yeah, they're going to puss out like they always do. And that's one of the reasons why the bullies, the social media bullies, and the left-wing bullies have been so successful in our culture of silencing people who don't agree with them. First, what they do is if they don't like your political opinion, they label it hate. Mm-hmm. And then when you express that opinion, they complain to people saying that it's hate. And because they said it was hate,
right,
it gets taken down or you lose your job, your family leaves you, you lose your mortgage. They want to destroy you. And it's not because you're hateful. Mm-hmm. It's because you don't agree with their politics. So you're a bad person. And they have to retaliate against you. I learned that today. Hopefully you'll be talking. I learned that this week. Hopefully you'll be talking about that in another news segment.
Well, it's kind of interesting because if you read this story, so the way that this story is written by the Boston Globe, and we can read a little bit of it here. They say that this individual does not know if they were hit by a bullet or not. They believe that they were shot.
Well, and he was running away.
Most people
wasn't
usually know.
He was running away from the officer.
Listen, if I get shot, I'm pretty sure I know it.
You usually know.
I'm just saying.
Know. Yeah.
So this guy's really saying he wasn't sure if he got shot?
Montero's attorney said Wednesday that his client believes he was shot.
He believes he was shot?
He believes he was shot. Not sure, but he believes it.
All right, okay, so I'm an investigative reporter. I'm going to just throw caution to the wind. Let's just ask some questions to see if maybe some of this makes sense. Maybe we're missing something. Does he have an injury showing that maybe he got shot?
You would think.
Right?
Yeah.
Did they explain any of
goes
that?
to the territory, right?
Because today you can just say whatever you want. It doesn't have to be true, but the media will report it as true if it goes along with their political narrative. So we know the Globe hates cops. We know we know that they cheer when cops get killed, And we know that they do everything they can to humiliate law enforcement because apparently they're all a bunch of white evil racists. So what's the evidence? What's the evidence that he might believe he could have almost maybe been shot?
We'll have to see.
We don't have that.
We don't have that.
I think you should look into it. You must have some sources there that
You
could.
need to dig a little bit. Yeah.
I do. I know one of the guys that was involved that night. That's how we got the story up before anybody else on
Yeah.
my page.
Yeah. The video, by the way, if you've seen it on social media,
seen it.
It's insane.
It's
My parents
incredible.
got stuck driving home in that.
Really?
They were surrounded. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be the new social justice warrior thing to disrupt society. Remember when the idiots were on 93 and they chained themselves together?
Yep.
And they found out real quickly that no matter how liberal Massachusetts people are, if you fuck with their driving, they will kill you. Right? So it doesn't really matter what their politics are. They might even agree with you, but they're running you over if you get in their way. And by the way, as it should be. I'm just saying. Anyways.
Well, so Tom,
Yes.
that's how the Boston Globe and how they're covering police right now.
Yep.
So you have a very different and counter story that is very pro-law enforcement, I believe. And this was a bunch of law enforcement officials who were honored in Lawrence last night.
Yeah, so Lawrence...
And you were there, right?
Yeah, Lawrence has been hiring police officers,
Right.
which is great. Dan Rivera's getting all kinds of grants, and he's been trying to move budget things around to try and increase the police presence in Lawrence, which is awesome. So we give him credit for that.
Right.
Because he's doing it. And the new chief, Chief Vask, also doing a great job, at least so far. Yesterday they had a press conference to announce that they were hiring these police officers. They brought the police officers in, all seemed to be really nice kids. And I call them kids because, like, I'm 100 years old now. So to me, everybody's a kid. And I got some video. I was live. I went Facebook Live.
Great.
I finally got out of Facebook jail. Hopefully you're going to be talking about that during the news.
I think we might have a reference to that, yeah.
But I finally got out of Facebook jail about 10 minutes before this event happened, and I realized it in the audience, so I jumped in my car and I ran. And I got some video. Now, I don't want to take away from the positiveness of hiring police officers. However, during this conversation, or during this press conference, Dan Rivera said something that kind of hit me wrong. And so I wanted to make sure I understood it. I wasn't really breaking his chops, so I'm pretty sure it came across that way. But he said something that hit me wrong. It just didn't seem right to me. It didn't seem correct, I should say.
Okay.
So I kind of asked him to clarify it a little bit, and it turned out that I actually did hear him right. Stu, maybe we can pull up that first Dan Rivera clip. This is me asking a question of the Lawrence mayor about racism in policing.
I was just wondering, you mentioned this Castro rule and race, and I'm wondering why race would have anything to do with hiring police officers. Can you explain that a little bit to those of us who think maybe we should just be hiring the best people regardless of race?
There was a time in this community where the representation of the police force was not reflective of the people who live in the community. And so a group of citizens went to court and in the case, and that case was won, I think in the 70s. And basically it said that 25% of the police force hiring practice in order to get the diversity would accomplish the diversity. So they did, that was the law of the land. Literally up till 2014 when I first came into office, and we went back to civil service and we said, hey, this isn't working out for us because it's having the adverse effect. But because and the Attorney General's office, they come to an agreement on, hey, we don't want the case to go away because we don't, for some reason the makeup of the community changes. We do want to have some diversity in the police force.
Can you just explain why you think, because you said that it wasn't reflective of the race of the people here, why is that important if police officers are just doing a great job?
That's the easiest part. What we decided, what we figured out after we did the research, there was an 80% chance that if you called for help, the responding police officer would be someone that couldn't speak your language.
Shouldn't language be the requirement, not race?
I'm just telling you that it's easier for us to respond to the needs of the community if we have police officers that have those skills. And I think that's what we have today, is that we have police officers not only that speak the language, but also understand the community in ways they didn't before. And so, this is a service-based operation like every other city operation, so we want to provide a good service. And I think that's we meet people where they are and not necessarily where we want them to be.
So
You can cut that, Stu. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and for those of you who had a hard time hearing it. So what he basically said, guys, was that there's this state law called the Castro Rule, where it was implemented so that 25% of police hires would have to be minority, which, by the way, is actually the definition of racism, but we'll get to that. And that it wasn't working for Lawrence because apparently it says up to 25%, right? So they couldn't hire, if they were hiring 4 people, they couldn't hire 2 minorities. And so what he said was it wasn't working for us. It was having the adverse effect of what we wanted because it didn't reflect the population of the people that we're serving. So naturally, people who think for themselves and don't just buy into propaganda would ask, which is what I asked, why is that important? What does it matter what someone's skin color is? And he said, well, people would go call the police and the person wouldn't speak their language. So, okay. Next most logical question, then why is race the issue and not language? Why shouldn't we just have a mandate that anybody who wants to become a Lawrence police has to learn Spanish?
Right.
And he didn't even really seem to like that idea because then white people who speak Spanish might get jobs.
Right.
And so he's not saying that, but that is what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
He's not saying those words, but that's what he's saying.
Right.
So he was really unhappy that more white people were getting jobs than minorities, which again, definition of racism, textbook definition of racism. And so, well, look, I think it's great that we've got 7 cops. And I don't care what the process is, how they were hired. Hopefully they do a great job. Hopefully they're safe out there.
Hopefully they're safe,
They don't get hurt.
Yep.
And hopefully they can back up their guys and they can do a great job for the people. But I have a real hard time with any elected official in the United States of America in 2018, 17, 18, where are we now? 18. I don't even know anymore.
Yep.
Having conversations, even in public no less, about how it is that we have to hire people based on the color of their flipping skin.
Right.
This isn't the 60s. And really what he said was, there's no way around it. We didn't want to hire more white people. That's what he was saying. And I've got a real problem with that. And Dan Rivera is not a racist. I'm not saying he's a racist. I know liberals believe if you say something that is racist, that makes you racist. I don't believe that. I think people who aren't racist can say things that are racist all the time and doesn't still make them racist. So I don't think Dan's a racist at all. But he has some very bizarre views on race. And when you're hiring somebody based on their race, that is the textbook definition of race. So,
well, your question was fair.
I tried to be fair. And by the way, kudos to him. He very easily could have said, hey, listen, I'm not going to put up with that race crap today. And he could have just moved on. But he answered the question.
Yeah, he did.
And that's, by the way, one of the reasons I really do like Dan Rivera, even though we agree on almost nothing.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? So, all right. I've already eaten like an hour out of news just chatting about other stuff, but that's okay.
Well, but we got to ask you about one more thing. And that is, while we're on sort of police blotter type stuff, Tom Duggan was in Facebook jail this week.
Yeah. How much time you got?
Well, we got a little bit.
We got a 2-hour show.
Sorry.
Hey, Mark Roberge from Prospect Hill says, so we're not going to get to you. They just asked me a question. It's going to take 3 hours to answer that.
I go on the Facebook page, and there's a picture of Tom, and his mouth is covered because he's censored by Facebook.
Yeah.
So how do you find out that you're in Facebook jail?
What is this? What? Come on.
I don't know which question to answer first. So I go online first thing in the morning, whatever day that was, because all my days, I don't sleep, so every day merges into the next day. And I couldn't sign on. And a notification came up with something that I had posted about the transgender girl who was a wrestler who won the championship. I don't know if you saw it was a big story last week. Yeah. And what I basically posted was, this girl has a mental illness, and it's not helping her that everyone around her is pretending that she doesn't have a mental illness. And it's not helping her that she thinks she's a boy and everybody is pretending she's a boy. Basically, that's what I said. Because you know what? Not for anything. I'm sorry if I'm hurting people's feelings, but facts are facts, right? Men and women, newsflash here on the Paying Attention radio program podcast, men are men and women are women. Men have different brain chemistry than women. Every single cell in their body has a chromosome women don't have, or maybe women have that men don't have. Men and women are not the same. So if Bruce Jenner wants to wear a dress, listen, if everybody around him wants to pretend he's a woman, that's fine if that's what they want to do. But don't tell me I'm a bad person because I'm not playing along. Because as far as I'm concerned, Bruce Jenner is Bruce Jenner is Bruce Jenner. Now, I do have one caveat to that we talked about last week. If he had his male genitalia taken off, like if he's that committed to being a woman, then I'm willing to play along. Like if you're just walking around wearing a dress and I'm supposed to call you Nancy, listen, I'm sorry if I'm hurting your feelings. I'm not calling you Nancy. I'm just not going to do it. All right? So to me, truth is important. That's what I posted. Facebook called it hate. And
so did someone report you?
Somebody had reported me. And so all of a sudden I couldn't post, I couldn't like, I couldn't read my instant messages. And by the way, they don't tell you how long you're in jail. Right? So as far as you know, it's indefinite until they just decide to let you back out. And so about an hour after I went into Facebook jail, I got 3 more notifications because apparently the little snowflakes that reported the first thing decided to go through the rest of my news feed back to 2009 when I started my account.
That's commitment.
And now I've had over 200 things reported and removed from my Facebook page.
Wow.
They've removed 1/3 of the photos in my photo gallery because apparently now photos are offensive, right? I had a photo gallery of me when I was the MC at the Greater Boston Tea Party's Tax Day Tea Rally a few years ago. Gone. They're all gone. The videos are gone.
Wow.
The pictures are gone.
Wow.
Because apparently seeing a sign about the Tea Party is hate, and that's going to make somebody go do a school shooting or something.
Wow.
According to the left-wing fascists. So Facebook is a fascist organization. They don't care about free speech. They care that you think what they want you to think, and if you don't, they're going to silence you. And I made phone calls. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I made. You think I'm tough?
Probably would believe it.
You think I'm tough when I'm in a good mood? You should see me when I'm pissed. And I was on the phone with and by the way, you call Facebook, you can't get a real person for the first 4 hours you try.
Right. They don't want to talk
apparently
to you.
Facebook, there's nobody that actually works there. It's all bots and Mark Zuckerberg somewhere with a laptop.
Right.
And so I finally did get someone on the phone. And I explained to them who I am and what I do, right? I'm not just some guy who's out there trying to hate on transgenders. I'm a news guy with a radio show, and I'm trying to spur a debate on these issues and discussion on these issues so the public will make their own mind up. I don't care if they agree with me or they don't agree with me. She was having none of it, or he was having none of it. I have a feeling he might have been a transgender, the guy I had on the phone. So I banged my head on my desk for like 2 straight days because I couldn't get on Facebook. But we found a way around it. And I'm not going to say live how we found a way around it, but we found a way around it. And within an hour, my Facebook page was back up.
Really?
So I don't know how long that's going to last.
Right.
Because by the end of this show, I might have lost my Facebook account again. But yeah, that's what happened. And it's very scary because as funny as it is, and as funny as I try to make it, the fact is, they can silence you, and not only silence you, but they can purge your page. They can edit your page. They can pull down things that represent what you believe or what you're trying to express about what someone else believes.
Right.
And when 1 or 2 people control all of the tech companies on the planet, that's the beginning of the next Nazi Germany. It really is. Because if you're going to get if you're afraid to say what you really believe because you're afraid you're going to lose your privilege to be on Facebook. Look, I use Facebook for my business.
Right.
I mean, I can't even tell you how much money I lost the 2 days that I couldn't even access my instant messaging because I had potential advertisers going, hey, Tom, can you send me some rates? How much to sponsor the bash? Hey, we've got a gift basket for your raffle. For 2 days, I couldn't access any of that stuff.
Yeah, not cool.
So I don't know what the solution is. I think one of the solutions, government needs to regulate all of these social media platforms as if they are utilities. They're monopolies, and they're providing content even though they're lying and saying that they're not.
Right.
If they're going to take down my post because they don't like my position, that means they're controlling content. And if they're controlling content, they need to be regulated by the government. Who would have thought you'd hear right-wing Republican Tea Party Tom Duggan saying the government should regulate anything?
Yep.
But this is scary.
Yep. Well, if you think censorship is bad, wait till you hear the next story Meredith has.
Oh, no.
A dairy business has announced it is going to turn away customers who appear to be Republicans. According to Bill Williams, owner of the store, which is some kind of repair shop for Apple computers, if you affiliate with the Republican Party, you are not welcome in our store. We will not offer you service. As if that's not bad enough, Williams says the decision of whom to turn away is based on a person's looks. He says the store decides who's a Republican, quote, just by the way you look in person or in a photo. Asked why he is imposing this new policy, he says, at this point, the Republicans are the biggest threat to causing World War III.
Right.
I'm dying to go down there.
So the guy who acts like a Nazi by refusing service to people that he thinks he might not like is saying that those people are the dangers to democracy.
Yeah, I think we should all go down there and see if he can.
Here's what we should do. So everybody that's listening that wants to get even with this guy, I got the perfect solution for you. We were talking to Jonathan about it earlier today. So what you do is you go into the store, but go with a bunch of friends, right?
Yeah.
And you get a cart, What kind of shop is this?
A repair shop for Apple.
Oh, so it's a repair shop. So you go in with your laptop, you go in with your desktop, you put it down, you explain to the guy all the problems you're having with viruses, you take like an hour of his time, and then just as he's about to like sign the thing and ask you for your credit card, go, hey, that's weird. Did you see that news story about the guy that wouldn't service Republicans? I'm the president of the Wyndham Tea Party. I can't believe that guy. And then watch him try to refuse your service.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Now, if he tries to take your credit card, that's when you go, you know what? I think you're that guy. Take your credit card back and walk out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the whole hour and a half he was talking to you, he wasn't making a sale,
yeah, right.
Bastard.
Drives me crazy.
It's kind of weird, though.
Insane.
Like, if he was denying a cake to a gay person, though, I'm pretty sure the government would step in on that.
Right. No, it's okay to discriminate against Republicans.
If you want to discriminate against white people, Catholics, Christians, people with conservative political views, that kind of racism, labeling, and stereotyping is okay today. At the same time, we get lectured that labeling and stereotyping is bad. Right. But it's only bad if it's labeling and stereotyping against a group that votes Democrat. Right. So if it's a gay group, a transgender group, if it's a group that hates war, you can't label lesbians, it can be Muslims, anything that the left likes that votes Democrat, don't label and stereotype them. But if they don't, well, labeling and stereotyping is okay. Right. Because racism isn't really racism if it's people we don't like.
Yeah. Makes
unbelievable.
Me mad. Insane.
Talk about unbelievable stories. Tom, did you must have heard, you must have been following, it was a particularly violent week in the Merrimack Valley, and perhaps the most shocking story of all by far happened in Winchester last weekend.
Yeah, we reported that live.
Yeah.
We had that before all the Boston channels.
Yep. So this was a young lady, Deanna Kenny Stryker, who was a first-year medical student. She was brutally stabbed to death as she sat studying inside the Winchester Public Library on Saturday. And her alleged murderer, one Jeffrey Yao, aged 23, allegedly stabbed her 20 times in what appears to be a completely random act of violence.
Well, as long as we ban guns, then we shouldn't be worried about these things.
Yeah. Yao is being held without bail on a murder charge, and his lawyer has said that his, quote, history of mental illness, including multiple hospitalizations, is unquestionably related to the slaying. Yeah, I mean, are we safe anywhere at this point?
No.
If that happens inside the Winchester Public Library.
Listen, we have been lulled into a sense of false security in our free society. In the year 2018, you're not safe anywhere. Now, the good news is, one of the reasons that you're not safe anywhere is because we're more free, right? We're more free than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You're very safe in downtown Beijing. You know why? Because if somebody looks at you the wrong way, they can be shot. So nobody dares to pick your pocket, right? Nobody dares to break into your house. Nobody dares to, start a fight. Nobody domestically beats their wives. Because if you do, they kill you. Here in this country, we have more freedoms, and we're not safe. President Trump said something yesterday that I wished that the snowflakes in Generation Snowflake would understand, and that's that gun-free zones is like a giant flashing billboard that says shoot here. Because if you're a maniac with a gun and you want to go kill a bunch of people and you plan on getting away with it, you're not planning on suicide, right? You're not planning on suicide by cop. Where are you going to go? Like, I go to AMC movie theater. Now, I pack, right? I go to my AMC movie theater, and before you walk in, there's a sign that says gun-free zone. I laugh. Because you want to know something? I'm walking in anyway. I'm going to the movie anyway. But if someone walks in with a gun, I'm walking out alive.
Right.
Maybe everybody else is going to be dead because they're all gun-free. I'm going home that day.
There you go. Yep.
And that's what people need to understand, what these gun-free zones are. I would argue that the Democrats want this chaos. They want gun-free zones. They want children to be shot because it allows them to ramp up people's emotions to try and take people's guns. And that's their ultimate goal. They want to take your guns because an armed populace is hard to control. And they want to control you. And look at what's going on with Facebook and YouTube and Google and everything else that we talked about. So.
Well, my previous story,
I'd go on 9 more hours on
jinxed
that.
myself because my computer froze.
You need.
I am going to have to go to that guy's shop.
You're going to have to. That's not. He's bugging you right here.
So, Lawrence General Hospital recently hosted a team of journalists from Time Magazine who were following an expectant mother on methadone who was living with a foster family in the area. The 3-person Time crew was at Lawrence General to document the newborn baby's first breath after a C-section and to spend time with the family post-delivery. This is just one of many stories in a special issue of Time focused entirely on the national opioid epidemic, which is due out on March 5th. In advance of the printed version of the magazine, the coverage also includes an online blog by acclaimed photojournalist James Nachtwey and a series of videos, both of which are now available to the public on the Time website. Have you checked it out yet?
I haven't, no.
I haven't.
I'm so busy. I haven't had a chance to really do much of anything. It's crazy. My life is crazy. No. That's actually a pretty good story.
And we should point out, ripped from the pages of the Valley Patriot.
Yeah, no, I always like when you do that. So I appreciate when you point that out.
Yep.
Because we do. People who follow us, and it's a small group of people. I got like 11,000 people that follow me on my Facebook page, like another 7,000 on the Valley Patriot page, and then between 5,000 and 10,000 on each other platform, LinkedIn, Twitter, all that. If you're following us, you're going to get the news sometimes 2 or 3 days before Channel 4, 5, 7, Fox 25, or the Globe report it.
Right.
And we got this press release really early because we know somebody at Lawrence General.
Oh, cool.
And we put it up. And one of the girls that works there said, "Oh, my God, I just got this in my inbox 5 minutes after I read it on you." I said, "Yeah, we got a little bit of an advance because we know people everywhere."
Right,
That's right.
But mostly, I'll give you my secret, it's because I'm a flirt. Now, people think that, he's sexist, he flirts with everyone. No. There's a method to my madness. I'm an investigative reporter. And if I can flirt with every secretary in every school I walk into, every nurse, every secretary in every hospital I go into, one of those girls is going to remember me the next time I call and say, "Hey, do you know anything about this?" They're going to remember me because I'm the guy that was flirting with them, right? And they either liked it or they didn't like it, but they're going to remember it.
That's right.
And so it's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I've just kind of worked it into my personality now because I've been doing it for so long. But it's less about me trying to pick anybody up and more about me just trying to make that connection so they'll remember me when I call and go, "Hey, you've been working at that hospital or that school for a long time. I just got a tip on something. I won't use your name. Can you just confirm it for me? Just tell me if it's real or it's not real."
Right.
And that helps me do my job because it's 10 fewer phone calls I have to make.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Right.
All right.
So...
Well, Tom, we're almost out of time, but just want to mention quickly before we go that there was a story this week about Wilmington State Representative James Maselli.
I saw that this morning.
Collapsed and was transported by ambulance to a hospital from the Omni Parker House on Wednesday during a meeting of House Democrats that were there for a caucus. And he's 82 years old. He's represented Wilmington and Tewksbury since 1977. And it was reported subsequently, someone was saying that he was conscious and talking to his family at the hospital. So hopefully everything is okay there. We pass along our best wishes to him. Hopefully speedy recovery, but scary stuff.
I think the best thing for Jim, I've known Jim for a long time. I don't know him well, right? Mm-hmm. But when I bump into him, we know each other and we chat about stuff. He ran for Congress at one point.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like really the only one that made any sense out of anybody that was running. There was 19 people in that race, including Jamie Eldridge. It was crazy debates that we did. Jim's a really good guy, and he doesn't check all the boxes for the Democrat Party.
Right.
But he's got a very tough challenger this year in Pina Prinzavali.
Yep.
She's a Republican who's doing a Diana DiZoglio-style campaign.
Yep.
She's knocking on every single door. Now, he's an 80-something-year-old guy. He can't knock every door.
Right.
And I still didn't think she really had much of a chance, but now that I'm hearing the story, and I hope he's okay.
Right.
But I think now hearing the story, maybe the best thing for him is to kind of go out on a high note, take care of his health.
Yep.
Because I would hate to have him run for re-election, win, and then because of the stress, die on us.
Right.
And he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And we wish the best for him. And maybe this is time. There's somebody who's really competent who can step into the job now.
Yep.
And that's Pina. And hopefully it just works out for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we do wish him the best.
Yeah. I'm trying hard not to make it sound like I'm trying to politically capitalize on his health issue, even though I really kind of am. I'm just trying to make it not look that way.
We'll give an A for effort.
I do like Pina. She's so adorable. She is so adorable. Every time I see her, I look at her and I go, you know what? Now I just want to go home and bake a pie. Like, she looks so wholesome. She's like this wholesome little Italian girl. So for fun, she's coming to the bash.
Oh, nice.
She already said she was coming. So I've tasked somebody on the bash committee. Hopefully she's not watching. I tasked somebody in the bash committee to go to Man Orchards and get an apple crisp, and we're going to bring her out a pie during the bash.
Nice.
She's nice. I like her a lot.
She's awesome.
Bash coming up on March 23rd, right?
Yes.
And you actually just recently announced nominees for the First Amendment Award for this year.
I did.
So we'll just briefly say that those nominees are Methuen Representative Linda Campbell, Turtle Boy, Mark Demers, Jana DiNatalie, and Jessica, help me with this last name. Finicaro.
Yeah.
Finicaro. Sorry about that.
So every year at our annual bash, we give out a bunch of awards. We do police awards, the Office of Tom Duggan Hero Award.
Great cause.
It's a good cause. All the money goes to charity.
Yep.
Well, not all the money, but most of it goes to charity. Some of it goes to help the Valley Patriot with expenses because we run the event. we do all kinds of awards. So we do a police award, we do veteran award, we give an award for writers and editor's choice award for people who write for us that write outstanding stuff.
Right.
And we do a First Amendment award. And the First Amendment award it's one of my favorite parts of the night because there are people out there, just as we talked about with the Facebook thing, there's people out there that are fighting for the First Amendment and getting punished for it.
Right.
And whether they're an elected official or they're just a person in the community who's having their First Amendment rights taken away from them and they're fighting it, we look for those kind of people and honor them at the event because without the First Amendment, we have no free press. No free press means no Valley Patriot. No Valley Patriot means no charity bash. It means no show here. It means no book.
Right.
It means no heroes in our midst. So First Amendment is pretty important to us at the Valley Patriot. And can we just take 1 second to say why each person was nominated? Who's the first person? Linda Campbell?
Yes. Yep.
So Linda Campbell got nominated. She was one of the co-sponsors of my public records bill that I wrote 4 years ago.
Right.
That finally got passed last year.
Got a lot of
4 years
attention
after
for
fighting
that.
it.
Yep.
So she co-sponsored it. We wanted to make sure she at least got a nomination. Who's the next name on the list?
Turtle Boy.
Turtle Boy's presenting a problem because they got nominated and they got more votes than anybody else.
Uh-oh.
And we kind of have to give them the award, but we are honoring a state trooper that night.
Right.
And they're going after the state police. And so we're trying to figure a way to get both done without both sides being mad at us.
Right,
and it's not working out very well.
Yeah.
So what we may do is hold Turtle Boy's award till next year. That'll be the big 15th anniversary bash.
Right.
There you go.
And honor the state police. And then we got word from the state police that they may just not be coming now. And if that's the case, then we have to go back and tell people that the award company to make up the Turtle Boy award again. So we don't know what we're going to do with that. And who's the next one?
Mike Demers.
Mike Demers is the guy that was on this show. He's the guy that's getting sued by Hafner's and Acadia Insurance. They're trying to make him take down his Facebook posts and his Twitter posts.
Hafner's?
Yeah, Hafner's Oil and Acadia
What did he
Insurance.
post?
Well, Hafner's overflowed his mom's gas tank with 250 gallons of oil that went down into the ground
That's a problem.
and then refused to clean it up to Mr. Demers' satisfaction. So he's got a boycott campaign online, and they're suing him, not for money, but they're suing him to silence him online they want the judge to order him to take down his boycott Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts.
Did they
and LinkedIn
deny that they did it?
No. They went out to the site. They cleaned some of it up, but not to the family's satisfaction. And Mr. Demers sued them, but he represented himself, so he lost.
Oh.
And so now his argument is, okay, well, legally they don't have to fix my mom's place up the way they promised they would, but they looked my mom in the eye and they promised they were gonna. And I think they should keep their word, whether the judge says they have to or not. So I'm going to keep my boycott campaign going until they do, and they're trying to silence him. So that's why he got his nomination.
Right.
And then who's next?
Jana DiNatale.
Jana DiNatale got nominated from the floor last year at the bash because the week earlier, the Methuen School Committee had an illegal secret meeting. And not only did they hold an illegal secret meeting that they said was for the purpose of litigation, meaning lawsuits for the school department. But the following meeting, they came out and put in their minutes that that's what they actually discussed when they didn't. And Jana called them on it publicly.
Yeah.
And I think that deserved a nomination. I actually think that deserves the actual award.
Right.
Because ever since then, they've piled on Jana DiNatale, and she's kind of like she's the odd person out now on the school committee. No one will talk to her. They beat her up every time she comes up with an idea. Methuen Mayor Jim Jajuga dressed her down the other night. We're going to talk a lot about that later on, and it will be in the next edition of the Valley Patriot.
Okay. And last but not least, Jessica Finicaro.
Jessica's going through the same thing. She's a Methuen city councilor. She brings up an idea, and she gets the crap beat out of her by people who should know better. And it's not just that they're poo-pooing her idea, they're poo-pooing her.
Right.
And they're speaking to her very disrespectfully, and they're attacking her personally, and they've kind of edged her out too, and she exposed it publicly because they had a meeting that wasn't televised. And they pretended that it was a workshop type meeting among the city councilors where no decisions were being made, but decisions on the budget were being made because she was sitting right there.
Right.
So she blew the lid on it, and the Loop attacked her, the Tribune attacked her, the mayor attacked her, her fellow city councilors attacked her, and I said, you know what? She stood up for the free press. She stood up for free speech. I'm the one who actually nominated her for that, actually.
Very good.
All good nominations.
Well, we'll have to see who gets the actual award.
Yep.
And that's coming up at the Bash, which is March 23rd at Fireman's Relief Inn, which is at 1 Market Street in Lawrence. That's from 5 p.m. till well, 11 p.m. or whenever it's over. Which
they throw us out of the after party at 2:30.
So you got March 24th, March 25th.
Right.
Just when it's over.
And then we have a hotel room for the after party. Now the only way to get to the after party, Meredith, you have to come. I mean, Fred, you can come with her if you want, but Meredith has to be there.
Okay.
So if you're there, there at the after party when they throw us out, that's the only way you can get to the after party. If you leave to go somewhere else, I'm not telling you where we're going to be.
That's past my bedtime.
But if you're with us at 2:30, we go to the Holiday Inn behind Friendly's on 114 in Lawrence. We get the whole floor. I pay off the night manager not to book anybody on that floor. I give him a $100 bill the night before. We've been doing this for 5 years now. It's worked out very well. No complaints.
Okay.
And we have a bunch of rooms upstairs, and people can do whatever they want, and you don't have to worry about people complaining about loud music or smoking cigarettes or anything else.
Okay.
And we do have one rule for the after party, though, and I know Mark Roberge knows because I think he was at the one 2 years ago when Prospect Hill was at the bash. No cell phones. You turn your cell phone in at the door. No cameras. Because if people are drinking and they're saying things while they're intoxicated, we don't want that to come back and hurt them with their job later. We don't want it to hurt them with their relationship with their wife or their girlfriend later. So you turn your cell phone in. You can do whatever you want after that.
Happens at the after party.
Stays at the after
party.
Literally
there you go.
means,
okay. Yep. Very good.
Got it.
Well, listen, we'll just mention, so the Bash and the Valley Patriot always accepting sponsorships, and this is a great cause. And I got to tell you, I mean, this is, aside from the fact that it's a great cause and supporting some very worthy people, this is a great deal. I mean, you have sponsorships here for as little as $250. You can get some fantastic advertising in the Valley Patriot and some visibility at the Bash. And, of course, the sponsorships go up from there and accepting any amounts, really.
Right.
But $1,000, $2,000, anything would be greatly appreciated.
And
from local businesses.
Anyone that donates $1,000 or $2,000, that money will go directly to a scholarship.
Right.
And we will allow you to come up at the Bash and present that scholarship to the actual kid who's getting it.
Nice.
What better cause is that?
Right.
I mean, right?
And as a sponsor, we're giving each sponsorship level.
Yep.
We'll give you free print ads in the Valley Patriot in the program. We'll mention you when we go live Facebook. We'll mention you on this program.
I mean, that's big.
So it's
really
a
big.
full publicity package, and none of the money goes in our pocket. So
that's right.
We're trying to help homeless veterans. We're trying to help kids get to college. We got a bunch of nonprofits that we're trying to help out. And,
excellent. Always a good time and a good cause. So,
and you guys are going to be live from the event.
Yes,
we will
we
be
are.
there.
That's going to be
there.
Great. Every 5 minutes during the event, I'm going to be like stopping the award program. Hey, what's Meredith doing over there? Meredith, are you live yet? And you got to wear red.
Looking forward to it.
You got to wear red.
Okay.
That's a rule.
Should be interesting.
All right.
All right, that's your news.
That's
today.
it. That's all there is.
Well, that was a lot.
It was a lot.
A lot going on.
And I got guests here waiting. It's 2:42. We're so over program.
That's
all
okay.
right. So we're gonna try and squeeze everything in now. Let's take a quick break, Stu. I thank you for being my fine producer today. He always does a great job. I'm still trying to get used to this whole podcast thing. So as we move forward, we'll be changing format stuff.
Okay.
So thank you for wearing red today. And thanks for sitting next to me instead of putting Fred there.
No offense taken.
No. He gets it. Right? Back after this. Oh, we're already in.